guys. So today I'm going to probably one of the coolest places in Western Australia. I'm going to Rottnest Island. So I'm going there for the first time in about 8 years. The last time I went there, I wasn't even 20 years old yet, and now I'm 28. There are lots of really wonderful things to see on Rottnest Island. Beautiful beaches, beautiful fauna, and of course, cute little quokkas. Right now, I'm in Perth City, quite frantically heading to the bus stop because I got to catch the ferry at 7:30. So wish me luck.
And luckily I did make it on time and I caught the bus to Perth train station. So this is the central train station in Perth where all the different train lines cross.
I spent all of my high school life pretty much coming through Perth train station, and it's so crazy. It's not that crazy, but it's kind of nice, a weird but also familiar feeling being back in Perth's train station. It's just after 7 o'clock in the morning, which is probably why I look so sleepy. Oh, train's here.
So today I'm catching the train down to an area of Perth called Fremantle. Fremantle has Perth's largest harbour and it's also Perth's biggest cargo port, so there's always huge ships coming in and out, and there's also a place to catch the ferry. It's about a 25-minute ride from Perth train station to Fremantle, so while I was on the train, I enjoyed some familiar views of Perth, such as graffiti, an advertisement for an event that finished more than 2 months ago, and car parks. Nah, but I'm just joking around. I love all of this because Perth is my home, but honestly, when you're on the train, there's really not much to look at until you get to the ocean. I arrived at Fremantle Station and then headed towards Victoria Quay, which is where I'll be hopping on the ferry to go to Rottnest.
I'm just in front of the beach shed where you get on the ferry, and I got a little bit of time to spare, so I found this cute little pop-up stall thing that sells coffee and cinnamon rolls, or we call them scrolls in Australia, so cinnamon scrolls. Just gonna sit down, relax, have cinnamon scroll before waiting to get on the ferry. Also, I get motion sickness, pretty bad motion sickness, nausea. Took me medicine, so hopefully won't be any surprise runs to the bathroom to throw up on my breakfast, but we'll see.
Guys, I think there's no greater thing in life than a freshly baked cinnamon scroll. And oh man, was this fresh. And it tasted so good. After devouring that cinnamon scroll, I hopped on the ferry, and then around 25 minutes later, I arrived at Rottnest Island. After getting off the ferry, I was greeted by this pelican-looking bird sitting on a light, which was honestly pretty cool.
Made it to Rottnest Island without throwing up. Actually, I slept the whole way here, which was really cool, so motion sickness medicine, highly recommend. I have rented a bike and a snorkel kit, like snorkel, flippers, and goggles. So I'm gonna hop on a bike, start going around the island, find some good places to snorkel, and maybe get some sweet footage in the water of some nice fishies.
Alright, so this is probably time to let you guys know I'm not actually the best bike rider, probably because I have bad balance. So it was a little bit of a challenge for me to ride the bike and also record footage at the same time, but don't worry, it gets better throughout the clip. I slowly get the hang of it.
So one thing I kind of forgot about Australia is how many flies there are. I guess there aren't that many flies in Asia. Holy crap. If you stop riding for like a second, there's like 8 to 10 flies that just hover around you non-stop. And it's really annoying when you're riding too. They're all like trying to get in your face, get into your nose and stuff. All right, let's get back on the road, find a place to go for a swim.
On the road again. I can't wait to get on the road again. Excuse me. So altogether, I went snorkeling at 3 different spots. So right now I'm on the way to the first spot. It's a place on the island called Genie's Lookout. And the water looks amazing. To be honest, I haven't been back in such a long time. I completely forgot how beautiful Perth's beaches are.
All right, so I found a nice spot to do a little bit of snorkeling. Sorry, there's so many flies and they won't leave me alone. So there's like a shipwrecked boat just off the coast. So I'm gonna go try and get some footage inside the boat, and apparently there's some lovely fish around here as well. So I wanted to get some really cool underwater footage. I don't have a camera to shoot underwater, so I went out and got one. So hopefully it will be worth it for the vlog. I really hope so.
So I thought riding a bike and holding a camera was difficult, but turns out swimming and holding a camera at the same time was equally or more difficult, which is why the following footage is just absolute chaos. Like, to be honest, I probably could have just flushed the camera down a toilet and probably got similar footage. But just like the bike riding footage, I assure you guys the footage does get better throughout the clip. But to be honest, this spot really wasn't the best anyway because the water wasn't that clear. There were a lot of things floating around. But I did manage to meet this cute little guy who led me back to his little fishy house to meet all his little fishy friends. And I also got this kind of sexy shot of me just standing in the water. So, you know, enjoy that.
First little swim done. The water was a lot colder than I was expecting it to be, like freezing cold. When I went under the water with my snorkel, I wasn't panicking or anything, but it was so cold it was making me breathe funny. So where I just went, I couldn't find the shipwreck, but gonna hop back on the bike and find another spot to do some snorkeling. Hopefully it's less rocky, less cold, and more fishies.
So I hopped back on my bike and continued to fight the eternal battle with the flies. They were just absolutely unforgiving. But I managed to survive the flies and arrive at the second spot, which was called Salmon Point. Starting to get that salty beach hair thing going on. But anyway, Salmon Point turned out to be a lot better than the last spot. The water was a lot clearer, less rocky, and also lots of cute little fish.
So that was a bit more eventful than the last little snorkeling trip. The water's still super cold, but there are lots of nice warm patches and there's no kids around, so I don't think it's peed, so that's really good. It's pretty crazy how relaxed the fish are. Like, they come pretty close to you and it's so cute when they swim back inside their little houses. Gotta love nature.
Then it was back on the bike and I headed to the last spot. Now this spot was the best spot of all. And not just because, in my opinion, it's the most beautiful spot that I went to, but in terms of snorkeling and the wildlife I saw, it was awesome. So let me show you. Now, I'm no wildlife expert. I have no idea what kind of fish these are, so I'll just call them as I see them. I saw these cute little long skinny fish with a brown stripe, these cute stripy zebra fish, these big boys, these little guys. Then there was this cute little guy on the ground. I promise he's not dead or anything. He's just chilling down there. This guy doing zoomies. And a little burrow where a bunch of fish were all hanging out together. Probably having a little fish rave party or something. Now the next thing I'm about to show you was probably the coolest sea creature that I came across on this whole trip. And that is this octopus. And if you look carefully, he's actually missing half a leg, which honestly makes him even cooler. But as I approached him, he started to swim away and I didn't want to freak him out or anything, so I just followed him for a little bit and then said bye-bye. Then after that, I think I had one of the coolest animal interactions of my entire life. I was just swimming, I put my hands out and he swam straight up to me. And then suddenly I was surrounded by fish. Honestly, I felt like a character from a Disney movie or something. So my little friend swam around and did a lap with me and then swam away, but that's not important. And then as he swam away, I gave him mini hearts and then he came back with his friends. Crazy.
Really good that this camera has stabilization because I'm shaking so much. Hopefully you can't tell when I edit the video, but oh my god. Ooh, shivering. It was worth it to play with fish and see an octopus. The octopus was probably the highlight, but oh, so water in my eyes. So weird because the sun is so hot. The water is so cold. Absolutely freezing.
So while I was complaining about the cold, I spotted these two cute little birdies. They were like jumping around in the water and I don't know, maybe cleaning themselves, but it looked like they were having a hell of a time. And they're super cute. I started putting this towel around my neck. I was putting sunscreen on the back of my neck, but this towel is better than sunscreen. I don't want the back of my neck to get burnt. Actually, I'm feeling like the back of my legs are starting to get pretty hot, so they probably got burnt already while I was swimming. So that was pretty dumb of me. You know, like sometimes when you get sunburnt, you can feel it. You're like, yeah, that's definitely gonna be sore tomorrow. I feel like the back of my legs are gonna be super sore tomorrow, but hopefully face, shoulders, neck,
gonna be fine.
And this was my leg after I got home. And ooh, was it red. My legs were red and in pain.
Rottnest Island is really big. I've only seen about 1/5 of it today, but unfortunately that's all the time I got because I spent a lot of time swimming. It was like when you're in the water, I don't have a watch, so I didn't know how much time was passing, and a lot more time passed than I thought. So gonna head back to the area where you get on the boat and try and find some quokkas before I leave, because it wouldn't be a trip to Rottnest Island without a selfie with a quokka. But the thing is about quokkas is that they're actually nocturnal animals, and it's very hot at the moment. They're not really out so much in the daytime, but there are some areas where they should be hanging out, so I'm gonna go try and find them. So let's go try and find some quokkies.
Yeah, as you can see, I'm pretty sure these guys just woke up and were looking for breakfast, and I felt kind of sorry for them, to be honest, because there's people all over the island just looking for these little guys, and it was way too early for them. So I just kind of like let them be. And then I came across this little cutie, and he was still sleeping. I don't think I've ever seen a cuter sleeping rodent in my entire life. And then there was this little guy who just woke up, and then I looked a little further and found this guy having a little snack. So of course, coming to Rottnest Island, I did try and take a selfie with a quokka. It didn't work out. This was as good as I got. It's not so good, but I mean, you know, I'm smiling, so there's that. Even though I didn't get a selfie, I think I got what could be the cutest footage of a quokka ever. So please enjoy. And that was the end of my trip. After that, I hopped back on the ferry, got back to land, caught the train, and hopped back on the bus and started to head home. I was exhausted. Honestly, I was only on the island for around 6 to 8 hours, but just the non-stop swimming and the heat just takes a lot out of you. Lips a little bit sunburnt, eyes a little bit sunburnt, but I really enjoyed my time there, and it was nice coming back for the first time in 8 years. And also another thing that I really liked was I got the opportunity to show you guys around some parts of my home state and some of the lovely beautiful places that it has to offer. So guys, I hope you enjoyed today's vlog, and I'll see you in another one coming very soon.